From our studio in Southern California, the hotbed of car culture, covering all things automotive. Welcome to In the Garage with Dennis. Here's your host, Dennis Pitzenbarger.
Welcome to the show. It is In the Garage with Dennis. I've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to go see a personal friend of mine, Bodie Stroud. He is the owner-operator of BS Industries, and he just completed his build for Tim Allen and his 1968 Camaro. Really, that was patterned after the great Smoky Unit Camaros. Now, we do want to invite you to our website, inthegaragewithdennis.com. You can check out our Facebook or Twitter pages, and certainly check out the blog with my daily anecdotes and what I'm doing when I'm not inside the booth. We do want to also thank our sponsors, Craftsman, Made to Make, and of course, Royal Purple. Royal Purple HPS is recommended for vehicles that are no longer under warranty, and for those seeking a higher level of performance and protection. It's fortified with a high level of ZDDP anti-wear additives and Royal Purple's proprietary additive Centerlick. Independent tests have shown that HPS outperforms other leading synthetic and conventional oils in both your gasoline and diesel engines. So get set, get ready. The show starts right now. Well, I'm in a garage that I've been in a few times, and I'm glad to be back. Bodie Stroud, BS Industries. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
You know what? I'm going to have more fun when you give all of us a few lessons. We'll talk about that in a second. But a lot of cool stuff going on in the shop here. You got your personal truck you're finishing up. Just got done with the Camaro, but I think a lot of people don't realize you've got a lot of history with building some really outlandish rigs. Obviously, the Starliner started with that. Maybe give us a quick snapshot of some of those cool cars.
Yeah, I mean, I've been building cars for a long time. Since I was, roughly 16, I started turning a wrench. Actually, younger than that. If you look in my office, I got a picture of me about 2 years old holding a wrench about this big working on my tricycle. So.
Nice.
But, when I started my business, and one of the best cars I did right out of the bat was the Starliner. It was a car that this customer was told couldn't be done. And if you come to me and you say, somebody said this can't be done, well, then that's when I turn on and I get happy and I actually make it all work. And
it's your happy place.
It's my happy place. So, Starliner was one of the first that we did that was, really knocked it out of the ballpark. It's a 1960 Ford Starliner with a Ford GT motor in it, 2006 Ford GT motor in it. We won SEMA 2009 Ford Design Award, Best of Show. Yeah. So that was really, I think, what got the ball rolling in my business. We had done a couple other builds as well that had gotten some cover shots and some magazine stuff, but this really, we did the Hot Rod TV episode with this car, and so it got a lot of exposure and got our name out there really quick, And ever since then, we've been doing these crazy cars, We did.
If you know that one of the times that we got together, our friends over at Hot Rod Magazine, they're still wondering how to get the black marks that you left in the brand new shop on that epoxy floor. You got in trouble for that, remember?
I did get in trouble for that.
You couldn't help yourself.
Well, when you're behind the wheel of that thing, it's just like you gotta hit it. You're looking at these GT gauges and you got all this power in your hands and you gotta hit it. So I nailed it, and it was a brand new painted floor in the Hot Rod Magazine shop there, and I got in trouble. I left a big old fat burnout in it. I think 2 of them.
Well, it didn't help that the tires were like, 335s.
Yeah, exactly.
It couldn't have been like a little
18 and a half
polyglass.
inch. Yeah, exactly.
The next one was the real thing. The Mustang, that was one of the things that really, to me, really showcased your talent, because so many things were different on that Mustang that unless you literally made some sort of guide map to the car, you kept seeing things that were different.
We changed just about everything on that car. I built our own suspension right here in the shop. I mean, upper control arms, lower control arms, everything was handcrafted, handmade. We had gone to the different shops and the different places that build chassis and stuff, and I just didn't quite like their design. And the reason being is I needed factory height on the seat because we were chopping the roof so much. What's amazing is if you took a tape measure to that windshield now and one on a Camaro, they're the same size. So it's very weird, the similarities and the sizes and windows and everything that are reflect from the Camaro. But and I didn't do it on purpose. I just happened to one day. I was like, wow, you know. But I needed that headroom. You know, I'm 6'6", so if I was going to be driving this at all, I needed headroom. You know, and I wanted to make sure that the customer was going to have headroom. That when you got in this thing, it still felt like you were sitting in a factory Mustang. We all new floor. So when I did what I on that thing, sorry, getting ahead of myself a little bit because I got so much to say. Is we lowered the frame in the center, so we were able to drop the floor, which brought the seats down and it kept it a good height. So I did fit in it.
Well, it is the fabrication that makes what you do so special. And I know that you just finished Tim Allen's Camaro. And one of the things that was probably the most fascinating is all the work that went into those quarter panels and those the front fenders, kind of that, as I think you guys took it, kind of a smoky eunuch look to that bulge there. And I don't think people realize how much work went into those fenders and what it takes to do that kind of work.
It's a lot of work. I mean, you know, like on the real thing, we widened the quarters, we changed everything, changed the roof line, and the same thing on Tim's car, the Camaro. You know, we flared out the front fenders and the rear quarters, and I think we really nailed it. I think a lot of times when people try this, they go, it's real easy to go too far. And I mean, even if you go just a little bit too far, it changes the look of it, and you know.
Yeah.
It changes the look dramatically. So, you know, I don't know what it is, but I guess I have a God-given talent to where I can see and I know it's right and that's how it should look. And you quit, you stop.
Take it to the edge.
Take it to the edge and then stop. You have to stop, because if you want to keep going and you want to add the fuzzy dice to the mirror and the fuzzy dashboard and all the
I got a van you can help me with that, you know, maybe a water bed, you know, kind of thing going. No.
It's just, it gets out of control real easy.
Really quickly, I want to talk just for a couple more minutes about the Camaro, and then we're going to get some lessons about welding with you. Is there favorite parts about that Camaro beyond the quarter panels and the fenders? Because that was a big dramatic change. But I know there was more than just that to building the car.
You know, the Starliner is one of my favorite cars that we've ever built, but the Camaro now is in close running because I really love the way this car came out. Tim had a great vision. We did want to copy the smoky eunuch features, so we did. We flared the fenders, the quarter panels, we sucked the gutters in, we slanted the nose a little bit. And the best part about it is when you open the hood, it looks like you're looking at a brand new factory engine sitting there. You know what I mean? It's very clean, it's very simple, and it is how myself and Tim pictured that this car should have looked when it came off the showroom floor back in '68. Yeah. And I think we nailed it.
Yeah, oh, you did. I love that car. Yeah. Well, you know, it's time that I think people get a chance to get just a glimpse of what you do, because, you know, it takes a lot of years and a lot of experience, and really, I hate to say this, a lot of failure to become a really great fabricator. You got to mess stuff up to make it right.
Exactly. That's my best advice I give to people. They ask, I think a lot of people just think that, boom, I woke up and here I am, this guy that builds all this stuff, and no, it's not. It has to do with a lot of things. A lot of it is experience. A lot of it is screwing up things along the way. Me and my buddies my friend Wade had, his dad was a stuntman for the studios and did John Wayne stuff. So he had every tool in the world in this garage, and that was our hangout. We were jacking trucks to the sky. We were slamming them on the ground. We were doing hydraulics. We were just cutting stuff up. Literally, the torches and the stick welder and you know, we were just flying. We were just building stuff, and it was a lot of trial and error. A lot of stuff barely made it down the street sometimes.
Well, besides the pictures of you and I floating around that'll never be released of really bad mullets, jean jackets, maybe a Motley Crue thing on the back, we're going to take a break from this. I want to run over to your welding table, and I want to get some basics. I want people out there to watch you give us all a basics lesson on just a simple wire feeder. And so people out there can look at this and go, you know what? I'm going to go out in the garage and play around. So you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
Before we run over the welding bench, I want to give you a little insight on one of our new partners here at the show. Holley Carburetors. On the track or on the street, their number one for performance is Holley. You've heard about their new street adventures, Ultra HP and Ultra Dominator carburetors. They're ultra light, ultra cool, and ultra fast. Holley carburetors are the most powerful carbs money can buy with no further modifications. Holley, winning performance for over 100 years. All right, we're over here at the fabrication table, and Bodie, we're gonna start off with the basics because, as I said before, I want people to really understand that there's a few things that they can learn and very easily go down to the junkyard and grab a 5-gallon bucket of metal and learn how to weld. But first off, safety gear. Gotta have the right safety gear.
You gotta have the right safety gear. I mean, if you can afford one of these are nice. They're the quick change. As soon as it sparks, it darkens up the lens. Very safe. You aren't having to flip it up and down and remember, you know, because I used to do those and you'd leave it open and you'd start,
Yeah, your eyes. You gotta remember your eyes have to be protected from
They have to be protected. Gloves are a good thing. And then, yeah, like you said, just get a bucket of scrap metal and start practicing. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
We talked about gloves as we were comparing little burn marks on our arms.
Yeah, I got them all up and down my arms.
I would, honestly, and when you're first doing this, might even recommend going to a long glove because you might get a little splatter and you don't want, because it hurts. I mean,
if you aren't used to it and you don't know it's coming, it will really surprise the heck out of you because it hurts. It's a burn.
It's a burn.
So,
now, why don't you take us through the basics of just gun placement, spacing with the gun, and go from there?
You know, the most important part is figuring out heat and speed on the welder. Usually on any welder you buy, you can go down to Sears, Craftsman, buy a little welder. You don't need much to start out. They have a little chart on the inside. It tells you about your thicknesses, the gas you're using, the thicknesses of material, the heat, the speed you need. It's a real simple chart. It helps you out really good. And then the next thing you want to do is you just want to be comfortable. When you're welding, you want to make sure that you're in a comfortable position. That'll really help out a lot. What I do is like little circles, I'll start a puddle.
No hippity hops?
I can do the hippity hops.
I like my hippity hop
I like the hippity hops too. But I usually do like circles, and I'll start a real nice puddle, see that I've penetrated both parts, both pieces of steel that I'm trying to join together. And then I'll step back, I'll create another one and push it into the other one. And that's how you do kind of the dime effect. When they say a roll of dimes or nickels or whatever, that's how you get that effect. It's a matter of just pushing it back in, stepping back, pushing it back in, and keeping it going. And knowing that you're actually melting these two pieces of metal together.
And for those out there watching, we want to make sure realize they might not understand that what you're doing is you're heating up both pieces of metal and then applying the welding material in there to bond it together. So when we're talking about that puddle and what's in there, the wire that comes out of the gun
is actually filling the gap.
Exactly. So I wanted people to be able to kind of look at that and see that in their minds.
Yep.
So why don't you give us kind of a basic look, kind of where the gun should be, how it should look and angle-wise, because that's one of the things I've made mistakes on is just not having the gun in the right position.
Yeah.
And I'm either not pushing it the right way, and I'm just not getting the penetration of the metal. You said it was very important, because if you don't heat it together, it's not going to bond. Now, to learn, it's okay to make a few mistakes, but when you get up to something like real fabrication, it's absolutely mandatory. But give us kind of a basic.
Even still, when I fire up a machine, I don't just set it at my settings and jump in. I'll find something to do a practice run on, just real quick, just to see if it's hot enough, see if it's too hot. You don't want to burn through. And after a while, you'll start learning the noise, the sound of a smooth weld. If you're getting a lot of popping, pop, 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 you're off on heat, you're off on speed. So you just need to make the adjustments, and don't be afraid to play with those till you find your comfort zone.
Because well, that's it. One of the things is even somebody might want less speed or more speed depending on their own personal technique.
Exactly. Yeah. Depending on what you're welding.
Well, give us a little look here.
So what I would do here is just make sure that I'm nice and comfortable.
And I'm not going to look in the weld.
Yeah, don't stare at the weld. And if I got my hand holding, I got both hands working with me. And I just pull the trigger.
Now, if you happen to watch, you could see the movement in his hand. As his hand was moving, it was built as little...
I'm building my little puddle, I'm stepping back, I'm building another one and pushing it in. I'm making sure I'm blending both pieces of material, and you got like the little dime effect,
and that, as a better weld than I could ever do in 100 years.
And that's not my best.
Well, what I'm trying to get the point across, and I think you've said the right things, is, go out there and explore. Let your, fear of welding, don't be afraid of the welder. It's easy to do. Before we run over and close the show up by taking a closer peek at the Camaro that Bodie built for Tim Allen, I want to talk about one of our sponsors. Let's talk about Craftsman's new 85-piece Universal Max Access mechanic tool set. This tool set offers the lowest profile solution on the market. The unique pass-through system offers go-through socket design, which works with a multiple of fasteners and delivers 40% more torque than the competition. The 4-in-1 ratcheting wrenches offer enhanced productivity and speed and easy-to-carry size. From everyday products, from the ones who made it last a lifetime, Craftsman made to make, and now available at Ace Hardware. All right, before we close this episode up, I want Bodie to take me on a personal tour of the 68 Camaro. I mean, so many little things about this car are perfect. Now, give me the auditory visual tour of this car. Maybe start with popping the hood. And I know it's a Z06 motor, 505 horse, right?
This is actually the motor that comes in the 2013 Corvette convertible only.
Oh,
it's
okay,
a
so this is the 427.
Yes,
Okay.
it's actually 428 cubic inches, but they called it the 427 anniversary motor. Like I was saying earlier, what I like about it most is it looks factory. It's got a factory look. It's got Detroit Speed and Engineering suspension. It's got the LS motor.
I love the work on the radiator. Very clean. All your hoses everything's really hidden underneath the fender flares.
Yeah, we just kept it really simple. You don't see a lot of wiring, and he wanted a real industrial look, so we just made some little caps here for these that plug these off. He didn't want no covers. We are going to do a fuel rail cover. He wants to do something cool there, and I think we're going to paint this flat black. So there's a couple little things we have to do that are left on the car, but not much. It's pretty much ready to go.
Now, what backs up the LS motor? Is it
We have a Kiesler 5-speed.
Kiesler 5-speed,
Yeah,
okay.
Kiesler 5-speed.
Now, I know that you did some custom work on the wheels. These were kind of one-off, weren't they?
Yes, the wheels were a one-off. He wanted it to look like a rally wheel, like a factory rally. The problem is we put Brembos in there. And when you're putting the big Brembo brakes, it's not always an easy fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It barely clears.
What size? Now, I can see they look like they're floating rotors in there, too. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
17-inch wheels, front and rear. And the rears are a little wider, as you can see. But yeah, we made them look exactly like a factory rally.
Well, you gotta have somebody. You gotta have the ability to have somebody steal your center caps.
Yeah, exactly. I hope not. Those are actually real rally center caps.
Well, it's pretty common. Love the blend on the interior. Love the custom gauges. I know it's a big thing with him. No center console. Absolutely no center console.
Yeah, he doesn't like the center consoles.
Now, who supplied the seats? What's some of the interior
Those are
pieces?
Recaro seats.
Okay.
And all we did was we stripped them down and made them, gave them that factory Camaro look,
I like the look to it. Added power windows. That's always a nice little touch. Gotta have that.
Yeah.
Now, this was an actual SS car, was it not? Was it not an SS car?
It's an RSSS car.
RSSS car.
I try not to say that too much because people might get upset with me.
Well, hey, it's Tim Allen's car.
But I mean, it was in bad shape, and what we did was so subtle to it. It's still a nice car. It's still got the RSSS, say that 10 times fast.
RSSS.
VIN number and everything. So it's it's still a really nice solid car. We really didn't change it or hurt it that bad. I think we improved it actually.
I like the fact that very understated in the back. No big dump exhaust. Nothing sticking out.
No, we dumped the exhaust where the factory exhaust usually dumps out on these things. So we kept a lot of factory touches to this thing. We wanted it to, once again, look like it came right off the showroom floor in 68.
Did you move the bumper in? Did you move that somehow? It looks
yeah,
like
a little bit.
Okay.
Sucked it in a little bit. Just clean it up a little bit. Clean the lines up a little bit.
I like the fact you didn't do anything crazy with the spoiler.
Nope,
Didn't try to mold it in or do anything silly.
It's all the same. We took the gutter rails. We've brought those in like the smoky unit car did. Naturally for wind resistance. When you're going fast, you can't have that wind resistance, so we sucked the gutter rails in.
Well, it just makes it nice and clean too. But this is the part I want to focus on. We talked about at the beginning of the show. The quarter panels and the fenders are really, to me, the crown jewel of this car.
Yes.
The amount of work that went into them. Yeah. And being a body and paint guy, if I get down like this and I look past these things and they're, man, they're laser straight, buddy. I mean, that takes
Yeah.
a lot of work to get them that perfectly straight, considering how much modification went into them.
A lot of modification, you know. Once again, it's not just me here; it's all my guys as well. You know, it's a team effort. I got a great team behind me. You know, we all work off of the same vision. You know, and we all flow together real nicely. But yeah, they came out perfect, front and rear fenders. You know, he basically wanted the flare that Smokey Unick put in his car. He wanted that same exact stance, and that's pretty much what we gave him. We actually slanted the nose down almost an inch in the front.
I like the fact that not an SS hood, not a cowl hood, you know, no cowl induction emblems, no
Just
nothing.
clean and simple.
Yeah, I like that look.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, this and every car that I've known you to build has always been amazing, and it's the little things that make the big difference. Again, a super home run on this thing, and I gotta say, thanks for letting us hang out in your shop. Thanks for the little welding lesson.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick around for more welding lessons. He knows I need it. But man, if you want to know anything about what this guy is doing, how can they find you? What's the way to get a hold of you, or just check out what you're doing? Because I know we're Facebook friends, but we got to tell the audience.
Yeah, you can
how
do
to
all that. You can do the Facebook, Bodie Stroud Facebook. You can go to my website, bodiestroud.com, or just Google Bodie Stroud. It'll show you all the fun and interesting stuff.
Maybe even a picture with the mullet, since we were both growing up
No,
in the 80s.
don't look for that. I think I paid to have that removed from the internet, so you aren't going to find nothing like that.
Well, thank you so much for letting us come by the shop. Bodie Stroud, BS Industries, an incredible fabricator and a guy I'm very proud to say is a friend of mine. We will see you in the next episode.